Hello and welcome to episode 187 of First Geek 411. This week, we've got spoiler-free Eternals, we've got video game expansions, and there's even a petition to keep James Cordon out of Wicked. With me, as always, as we go through this windy road, my best man, Chris Nicolay. Chris, how you doing today?
Hello, I'm well, despite the end of daylight savings time. It's dumb. I hate it.
You don't like falling back, getting an extra hour of sleep?
No, because then it's dark out when I get off work, and that sucks.
Yep.
And it still means that spring has to happen.
I got a bit till that.
I know, but
got a ways to go.
Yeah.
It's also, that is the absolute worst. It's all pointless. It's all pointless, okay?
Joining us also where it's not spring, Shanine. How you doing?
I guess a bit chilly, but not too bad.
You below 0 too?
Not currently, but overnight we definitely are.
Oh, man. Oh, okay, we're not currently either anymore.
We're 1 degree.
Then probably the one most likely to be in spring, Emma. How are you doing?
Could be spring. Could very easily be spring. At least in terms of weather patterns.
Oh,
hi.
I don't think I said at the top. We're doing our top 3 super specific movie genres this week. I think I forgot to say that. So here we are. Listeners, as always, you can find us as One Geek 411 on our social media. Join our Discord server to see the cool video of a bat Deanna just posted. You can also shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Watch live on Twitch, 6:45 Mountain Time, part of the post-show chats. And you can find the videos over on YouTube where you can like, comment, and subscribe. And then you can also rate and subscribe wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. And then you can check out our Redbubble store for some cool merch. Let's go ahead and get into what we've been up to this past week. Emma, why don't you start us off?
What did I do this week? Good question. Let's see. I started playing Luigi's Mansion 3. It's the first Luigi's Mansion game that I've played, and I'm enjoying it very much so. Having fun with my little vacuum pack thing and my slime Luigi and good casual spooks and ghosties and things like that. I started reading our book club book for this week, or for this month. Finally getting to read that Doctor Who book, and I'm very much enjoying it so far. And then we'll talk a little bit about this later, but I've been playing some more of the new Animal Crossing expansion that came out, and it's a lot of fun. So, yeah. Pretty casual week, but pretty good one. So,
Shanine, what about you?
Okay, well, spooky season is still in full fling for me. So
I'll just say I have not seen it declared not spoopy season.
it is still spoopy season for those who are on Spoopy Watch. We finished watching Lock and Key season 2, and it is excellent, and I love this show. It's just great. And I finished reading The Haunting of Hill House, which was more psychological than like straight up terrifying. So I really enjoyed that. There was like enough spookiness, but not like, I don't think I can sleep tonight. Scary stuff. So very good. Really liked it. Gonna be watching the Netflix show now and see how it compares. I guess in another sort of scary, I decided to do NaNoWriMo again. So we are 8 days in. I have written every day and passed the daily word count for every day. So I'm a little bit ahead, which is nice. And it's going good.
On track. Good to hear.
You broke 10K, right?
Yes, I think I'm sitting just over 14K now.
Nice.
So,
Woohoo!
yeah.
Have you named all your characters?
No, I have named one more than I had last year. So I'm working on the same story that I was last year, but starting completely from scratch because I didn't like it. So I've had a year to like think about it and stuff. And I've changed some things and have a better idea of what direction we're headed in. So my main character now has a name. She didn't last year. So
Yay!
It's a big hurdle.
his names are so hard for me. They have to be good.
They have to be iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of my very, very good friends had a baby a couple weeks ago, and we got to meet him yesterday. He's very
Gross.
cute.
No, he's not.
Yes,
I can tell you right now, no, he's not.
He smiled in his sleep, and it was adorable.
Oh,
Do you want one now?
Not immediately.
Loaded question.
I have not been infected with baby fever.
Not yet,
No.
or not at all.
Chris, what have you been up to?
I did watch V for Vendetta on Friday
Nice.
when I got off work, and then immediately had to go shoot pool and play 2 rounds, but I won both, so that's a plus.
Nice.
Just a random chain of events this weekend. Ended up playing some Falf, and got talked into playing some League of Legends.
How'd that go?
It was fine. Not much has changed. I'm still bad. Yeah, Pokemon did not help with that. But we won one. I finally reached Summoner level 20, but apparently there's no level cap now. That's not a thing anymore, apparently. So one of the people I was playing with has like a level 500 something. I don't know. I don't understand that game at all. But yeah, and then started working on the most recent event in Final Fantasy XIV, which is a major grind, and it's gonna be great. But I'm getting it at all the mounts.
Get all the pre-horses.
Like, I'm not sure if there's a horse in the current event, but there is a fire dog.
Nice,
Okay.
nice.
You have my attention.
Yep. So positives, and that's pretty much it. Don't play League.
Oh man. So for me, recently was released on PlayStation Plus, but I started playing Knockout City, which is a like multiplayer competitive dodgeball game. And it's super wacky. I've really been enjoying it.
Do you have cool shots like in Blitzball?
They're not as cool as Blitzball, but there are some very cool shots.
No Jack Shot 3.
Yeah, there's definitely some like ball physics that's like you just curved that like around 3 obstacles.
That's the
Like
thing.
and you got me.
If
Okay,
the ball,
you deserve
if
it.
the ball has divots, it's possible, right?
Yeah. And so, but yeah, it's been pretty fun overall. It's definitely, I think it definitely is a competitive multiplayer game. It's one of those that's like, if you're playing by yourself, there's a couple modes. And then if you're not playing by yourself, there's like, you can hop in with randos. So,
But the important question is, will it be an e-sport?
I mean, if Splatoon 2 is an esport, then Knockout City's gotta be.
Question is, do they make esports based on games that are sports?
Yeah, I mean, there's like a huge like Madden scene.
Is that an actual esport?
Mm-hmm.
Gross. I'm a little disappointed.
Well, there's like competitive games. I don't know how much of it's like to the same like level of League of Legends or like Rocket League or anything like that. But
Do they have tournaments? That's the question.
I'm pretty sure they do. And then I read part 1 of the Magic the Gathering Boom comic. I picked it up at my LGS. It has best girl Vraska, and then second best girl Kaya, and then okayest boy Ral.
Okayest boy.
He is indeed okay. But it's very fun. I enjoy the art style. I'm looking forward to volume 2. And then went and for the 3rd time in a week and a half, went to the theater and saw Eternals. And I really enjoyed it. And we'll talk a little bit about more about it in our news topic on it. But I assume that none of y'all had the chance to go see it. It wasn't in anyone else's. What we've been up to.
Haven't seen anything in the theaters yet.
Yeah, I am not going to theaters in Helena. I don't trust people.
I don't trust people.
I already spend all my time watching movies.
So Eternals will have to wait till it's on Disney Plus.
Makes sense. And then after, or as always, we went to Alamo Drafthouse, and in the pre-show, I learned that Neil Gaiman wrote a run of the Eternals.
Ooh.
And so I started reading that, and so I'm on like issue 2 out of 7, and so it's been pretty cool so far. It's definitely different than the movie, but some of that is to be expected. Just with obviously like this, it wasn't like their introduction. It's kind of just almost like a reboot of some of those characters, from what I can understand. So I will report back later on that. And so let's go ahead and go into our discussion topics. We are going to just go ahead and start off with my topic, and that's that Eternals did pretty good in the theaters, all things considered, especially after the reviews. It brought in $71 million domestic over opening weekend. And I think I saw 160 million worldwide. Not sure if that's actually correct. It's the 4th highest opening movie during the pandemic. Do y'all want to guess what the other 3 are?
Marvel and Marvel.
Marvel and Marvel.
Yeah, so that is correct. The other ones are all indeed Marvel movies. So number 3 is Shang-Chi with 75 million. Number 2 is Black Widow with 80 million. And then somehow Venom Let There Be Carnage is above both of those with 90 million. You know, miracles happen. So, but with that, obviously, Eternals got some very bad press starting out early, some not so great critic reviews. And so like spoiler free, I'm going to say I really enjoyed it. I think it's a better Eternals movie than Black Widow was a Black Widow movie. And that's based on, of course, like not really knowing the characters prior to this, but like, so like going in kind of cold. It definitely has the thing that makes me scared about an X-Men movie if that gets brought into the MCU, it's about like 9 characters. And so it's like, I think they did a pretty good job of like bringing everyone in, giving everyone like more than like one personality type or one personality trait. But it definitely is one of those movies that there is a lot of people that you have to get to know pretty quickly. And then I feel like past that, like my complaints are relatively nitpicky. Like there's a couple things that are just kind of weird. I had a good conversation today with Locksteady in his Discord about it. And so, but really without really going into too many spoilers, there's not a ton else that I can say there. I'm trying to think if there was anything. Yeah. So Eternals got me thinking. Have any of you, or maybe another way to say that is, what is your favorite movie that is poorly reviewed? Do you have a favorite, like everyone hates this movie, but I like guilty pleasure enjoy it, or the
I was gonna ask, is this like critics review or audience
either
review?
way? If you want to take like critics review or vice versa, if this is like the audience doesn't like this, but the critics did, and you agreed with critics.
Because in terms of critics reviews being poor but being an awesome movie or being a enjoyable movie, Hook was poorly reviewed by critics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hook is my go-to for that type of question.
Mine is the kids cartoon movie We're Back. It's about these 4 dinosaurs
Mhm.
that like get turned from like ravaging like wild animals to like smart dinosaurs, if you will, through cereal, and then brought to present day New York. And it did like, did fine. It did okay, but it's just, you know, dinosaurs.
Mhm.
A dinosaur what if movie. And I like it. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. A lot of fun and underappreciated in my opinion. But yeah. That's one of my go-tos.
The Fast and Furious franchise. Always enjoyable. Definitely not a good series. Should not have 10 movies.
Janine, do you have one?
Sure, I do. I just can't think of anything right now. I don't know.
I have a TV show, and that's Better Off Ted, which I'm the problem on because I also didn't watch this until it was canceled and was like all on Netflix. But it's a like sitcom about people working in basically like a super evil corporation, and it's one of those that like generally I think from the people that have seen it that people enjoy it, but like no one ever actually watched it, and so it got canceled. If only.
I go to bad TV show is Stargate. Like it's bad, but it's my guilty pleasure.
I feel like Stargate has so much potential if it had a good budget.
That's the thing about it is like it has a lot of potential there. It's just they were working with a very low budget and not enough time.
If you throw money at them, I'm sure they can make something great.
Yeah.
You want to guess the
fulfill their potential?
Do you want to guess the Metacritic score for Stargate SG-1 based on 8 critic reviews?
11.
Probably like 8% or something.
It's 48.
Oh, okay.
And then the fan score is 9.3 for like the user score. So that is quite the
because fans are the ones
are the ones that are going to go back and add their reviews. But it has 15 positive user scores on Metacritic and 0 mixed and 0 negative.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those shows where there's so much potential there.
Yeah. Of the Stargate, SG-1's my least favorite.
Your least?
Yeah.
Interesting. Most people, because
it's a little more convoluted than I'd prefer. That I would like. Yeah, I know, but I definitely like preferred like Atlantis and.
Yeah. See, Atlantis.
The most recent one, Universe. Was that the most recent?
Atlantis, they took the concept and really ran with it. Like that's where the potential lies. Is they like. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a better example of like, here's the potential with this concept that we can use it for, to explore these like urban legends, or not necessarily urban, but like Earth myths that like, oh really, they're like out in space or whatever. Like
it was aliens.
Aliens. But not. They're aliens, but they're not aliens. But they are.
Listeners, hit us up with your favorite film that was poorly reviewed, either by critics or fans. Chris, we got a little bit of a double header on game expansion news. So why don't you start us off?
So, as I mentioned, I've been jumping back into Final Fantasy XIV in preparation for Endwalker. That was supposed to be out later this month. That has been delayed to December 7th because it's a more ambitious update for the game. And they don't want to crash the game upon update. Learning very well from their initial release of the game that we have all forgotten about. So Endwalker delayed till December 7th. Does come with news because of its ambitious kind of the new things that are coming with it. The way they are updating the way certain leveling mechanics and things work. It may result in a mid-level reset. So essentially any current level progress for your classes that aren't that haven't leveled up, it'll be reset. Your experience will be reset to 0 for that current level. So you're not being reset down to 1.
Oh, okay.
It's like, okay, I'm halfway to level 50. Well, now you're just level 49 with zero experience going toward level 50 or whatever. So there is kind of a big push for players to jump in and make sure their levels, their classes have just leveled up or made it to that next level cap, so you don't lose, because some of the experience requirements for those later levels, like 70 to 80, and are big, and you don't want to lose that progress. Just thinking about some of my classes, that would be millions of experience points if I don't get them.
You get got.
Yeah, and I'll be like, oh, well, I was already trying to grind these. Now I have to re-grind this entire level because I wasn't paying attention.
They're just providing you with more opportunity to play. They're really doing a service.
Really doing a service to get those sub dollars back. One thing we will say is that with Square, they have done a lot to bring a lot of new players the past year, such as the game being free to play through the first expansion, Heaven's Ward, so through level 60. So they did bring a lot of people in, and I think a lot of people ended up buying and are sticking around for it. So this is a big... I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of congestion on the servers come the start of December. But I think also with some of the crashes like a few months ago, with some of the big influxes with kind of the things revolving around Blizzard and Activision and the kind of influx of players leaving WoW to come to Final Fantasy, they are a lot better prepared for this expansion, or so we hope. And so December 7th, and I believe, granted they're not Square, but KupoCon is doing a special release, like informational release event on November 13th. So if you're a Final Fantasy 14 fan, check it out. KupoCon. I want to go to KupoCon one day. It's in Toronto, though.
Just boop up there.
Boop. Except Toronto's not anywhere close.
It's on the opposite side.
It's on the other side of Canada.
Speaking of Canada, Shanine, you got our other game expansion topic. Why don't you go ahead?
Yes. As Emma mentioned, the Animal Crossing New Horizons major expansion came out. I haven't played it yet, so Emma will have to tell us all about it, but it looks super exciting.
It is super exciting. There's both an update expansion plus a DLC you can buy on top of that. Just the base update expansion itself adds a lot. You get the coffee shop finally, which fans have been asking about for a long time. You get more decorations. You get to do more island tours with the turtle. It really feels more like a complete game with even just that update. You can do so much more.
You could do yoga with your villagers.
You can do yoga with your villagers. So fun. It's just, yeah, makes it more enjoyable. And then the DLC, you get to design vacation homes for people, for other like villagers. So if you really like designing rooms and homes, that's a great place to go. You get to use house items that like you wouldn't have. So they give you stuff for those scenarios that you wouldn't get from the store or whatever. That's really cool if you like doing all the designing stuff. And then you get to then spend the money that you make in that getting those items. So yeah, it's really like it gives you a lot more to do, and I really like it. I've been enjoying it. It's gotten me back into the game, and made it more enjoyable. There's also now vegetables that you get to grow and you get to cook and you get to like make food. That's fun too. So
If you had to pick one, what's your favorite feature of the update?
I think the vegetable, getting to grow vegetables and then like cook with them, and that's something that because it adds like a new level to like planting and growing things. Like you're not just planting flowers to look pretty or whatever. You get to like create little vegetable gardens and then like harvest those and then make things with them. Like
just makes it a more full-fledged sim game.
Yeah. Without being too irritating or frustrating. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard about the update and I was like super excited, but also almost like overwhelmed at how much they were adding, because I still haven't finished like decorating my whole island. And now I'm like, do I just start over? It's too much.
Just nuke the whole thing. And
to be fair, I did that a couple months ago. I just nuked my entire island and started completely over. And I mean, I enjoyed doing it, but I also then got super busy and have hardly touched it. So, I mean, it kind of depends on how attached you are to your current setup and everything. Like, having more space that I haven't set up gives me more opportunities to like play around with the new stuff. So I don't have to completely destroy this one like area or whatever to try something else out. But
tear it all down.
Yeah, we'll see. But has there been a major game update that has enticed you back to a game before, or could entice you back to a game if they were to make one?
I'm gonna guess Cameron's is No Man's Sky.
Yeah, mine's No Man's Sky Beyond. And kind of honestly every expansion to No Man's Sky. I need to go and see if I can still do the most recent expedition. But I mean, I've said it several times. It's kind of the general vibe on the internet, but they've done amazing work to actually make that game good. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's kind of led to me having a funny relationship with the Animal Crossing update as people who, or as a person who doesn't play Animal Crossing, because it's like they added that you can scoot sideways and get through things, and I'm like, that's so silly. But then at the same time, I'm like, if they like, there's some like super petty things that if they were to add to No Man's Sky, I would be super excited about. And it was just like, okay, it's just like that same thing, but like.
They've definitely thrown some quality of life things in there that are like, do make it a little nicer to play, because it's just like, well, like before you looked at it and you went, oh, you can absolutely fit through there. You're just being stubborn. And now it's like, now you can actually fit through there. So yeah, definitely threw some quality of life things in there too that are just like, thank you. So.
And then other than that, for me, I kind of have a weird relationship with DLC where like, even if I love the game, a lot of times I won't circle back and play it. like using The Last of Us as an example, I'd never played Left Behind, which is the story of how Ellie got bit. But now it's on the remaster, so I'm going to play it there. Kind of the same with Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I never went and played the Yuffie story, even though I really like that game.
And Yuffie's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
It's such a random thing that they did. Like with the Final Fantasy VII, the way they released that, though. So, I get that one.
I mean, I really like the, to no one's surprise, the Horizon expansion, Frozen Wilds. I never really left that game behind, but for like an addition to a game, it keeps a lot of the same feel of the game while also giving you something new and a bit different to play around with, and you get new robots and new weapons, and yeah.
And I think that expansion also did a great job of like making the world feel more lived in.
Yeah.
Because like you basically get introduced to like a whole different culture that you got to see, and see it's kind of cool to get to see. And we're gonna get more of that with the second game where
Wasn't
we go to
free?
like, I don't think it was free.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't recall paying for it, but it's also very possible I did.
Or maybe it was like
might have had a special deal or something.
Yeah, like the buy the deluxe edition, get the DLC when it comes out kind of thing.
Also very likely.
Yeah.
Because that one I did buy deluxe. For me, it's the game I'm currently playing, Final Fantasy 14, because it sucks me back in. Such good storytelling, and it's an MMO, and it's always fun to jump back in and play. Wish I knew more people that played, but I guess so. It's what's cool now is my like local friend group mostly are playing, and so I get to help them grind up some levels occasionally and do some fun stuff. Another one, granted, we don't see them a ton, but like the actual expansions for like the Diablo games, can typically get me to return because they'll introduce a new class that I want to check out and play, and a whole new like chapter for the game. And you know, for the most part, if it feels like a great, like it's worth the time for the money, I'll typically return for a expansion or DLC for those types of games.
Circle back to you, Shani.
I don't know. There's like so few games that I have actually finished in my life. So, I mean, there's Animal Crossing. This expansion will be bringing me back. Other than that, I don't know. I feel like I would play an expansion of Luigi's Mansion. I like it.
Yeah, that was much one I was thinking of for you. Was like coming back for more Luigi.
Yep. Some more fun spoops. There's other stuff they could do with that.
Having fun smashing ghosts around.
Yeah.
I was going to say Pokemon, but then I realized I have never actually returned to a Pokemon game for the DLC. The ones that have had it. I'm like, you know, I've always enjoyed those games, but I have never returned for a DLC or expansion for a current series. But I do return to Pokemon every time they do a new game. I mean, does that count?
Listeners, hit us up with your favorite game update, or the games or the updates that you wish would happen so that you could get brought back in. Emma, let's head on over to you. What do you got for us this week?
Jurassic World 3 wraps post-production, so it basically means that they finished the movie and now it's just on to marketing. for the next couple of months until it comes out. Any hopes, wishes, dreams, desires, or are you just meh on this 6th installment of Don't Bring Dinosaurs Back to Life?
My hopes are dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. This is just all of your hopes.
I know that that's like the overall theme for the series, but every time I watch it, I'm like, do this.
Do more of this.
It's like, can we make this real? But we'll find out after we bring back the woolly mammoth.
Yeah. Yeah,
For me, that's kind of
dinos.
where I'm at. Like,
Dinos. Just here for the dinos.
yeah, I'm hoping that it's good, but that's kind of the
the base
extent. I
level of
don't.
it.
Yeah, we talked about that one of the previous weeks. That I kind of think that this franchise is one of those for me that I'm just like, I enjoy it, but it's not my like
Yeah.
super in-depth franchise that I'm super into the lore and all that kind of stuff. So as long as there's cool dinos, I'm in.
Yeah.
I do have to say,
The original's still my favorite. Just
the Jurassic Park ride at the place here, wherever it is,
Universal.
Universal. There we go. Thank you. It's been a long weekend, folks. Is fantastic. The dino robots are great. Very expensive, probably. If you ever get a chance to go on that ride, do it. It is fantastic. But yeah, so Jurassic World Dominion comes out on June 10th, 2022. So we get a summer movie, which is great.
I think it's crazy that it's that far away. Like it's wrapped
know.
post-production, but
it gives them enough time to spend money on advertising to then make back the money that they spent on advertisement.
right.
Yeah. And then my other thing that I'm sharing mostly because I find it slightly funny that someone read my mind was earlier this week we got the first couple of announcements for cast for the Wicked movie that's coming out. And some people then wrote up a petition to keep James Cordon out of this movie, almost entirely because of his previous adventures or misadventures, according to some people, into the genre of musical remakes. And I just find it interesting that some people feel so strongly about James Cordon. I mean, I'm very neutral on the man, but I also understand, like, I get it. He doesn't necessarily improve those shows.
Was he remotely attached to this project?
No.
Okay.
It's just that most of the recent movies that he's showed up in have been musicals, and everyone's just like, we don't want this guy in any more musicals. We don't feel he adds anything to them. So some people were just like, let's sign a petition to say no more James Corden in this movie because he would not add anything to it. So
that was my thought reading through the article. I was like, because it wasn't saying that he was like remotely in it. I'm like, so someone just like woke up and chose violence. Like,
the enmity toward Corden seemingly stems from his ubiquity in recent stage-to-screen adaptations of beloved musicals, including his turns in Tom Hopper's wildly panned Cats, Ryan Murphy's The Prom, Rob Marshall's Into the Woods, and Amazon's recently released Cinderella. So basically, it was just like, people were like, we don't want you in any more musicals because we've seen you in all of them so far. And that's about that. But yeah, like, again, I personally don't care either way, but I also get it. So
in chat, Deanna says James Corden is like Incrediboy, the Broadway fan who got himself in the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just talking about this weekend with my friend. We're already a bit skeptical about Ariana Grande
Yeah.
being cast
That's the other thing.
as Glinda, and yeah, I think we're both fairly vehemently against James Corden being in it. Just because there doesn't super seem to be a role for him. Like Wicked is kind of a much more serious musical. And James Corden really seems to be there for the comedy most times.
And this is not one of those that you can even remotely fit into that box.
No, or at least they shouldn't.
Yeah. So there you go.
Travis in chat says Cats clearly is his scene.
Yeah. I mean, he can stay there. He can stay in Cats. That I don't care about.
Yeah. As someone who's like seen Wicked and really enjoyed it, but like this kind of goes into, I think Shanine and I had discussed last week, where this is just like, I want the fans to be happy.
Yeah.
Like that's really where I'm at with this. So like, I'll probably see it when it comes out, like on Netflix or something, but I just want the fans to be happy. And if the fans have decided to choose violence, then I guess I'm all on board.
Good on them.
Like,
they're allowed to choose violence, but as long as they're decent human beings about it.
yeah. Like this, even like the actual, like what was in the petition does at least have some like vibes of like, we get that this is a joke, but also please don't cast James Corden. Like, but I don't know. We'll see. Although at this point, there's got to be some executive that's over there like, you know what? We're casting him. You know what?
Yeah.
He's
There's
Glinda now.
someone pulling those cards and someone making those choices, and you know, it's very questionable. But okay.
Let's get into our announcements, and then we'll go into our top 3 super specific movie genres for the week. Who all is planning to stream this week?
Okay, definitely planning to be streaming tomorrow night. Barring unforeseeable circumstances, I will be back with Little Nightmares. For real.
Not the Animal Crossing DLC?
No.
I will not be streaming for the foreseeable future. I have a project I'm working on.
Project secret.
It is, actually. I've already said too much.
I've already said too much. Cancel the stream.
Cut this out.
I will potentially, as time allows. I streamed for the first time in several months this last Thursday. So it's very much a as time allows thing at this point in my life, because I'm a grad student and very busy. But yeah, hopefully I would like to, if I have the time to.
Then for me, I should be streaming on Sunday, 2:30 normal time. I don't know what I'm going to do. We might do more Last of Us. We also have the latest Magic set coming out. So it could be any of that. Might even be Knockout City. If I can find some people to play with me. So could be anything. Stay tuned. Please be excited for E3. So, and then next week, Emma referenced it earlier. We will be doing our book club on The Ruby's Curse. Getting that Doctor Who goodness going. We're going a week early because of American Thanksgiving. So get reading and be ready. And then, yeah, let's get into our top 3 of the week, our top 3 super specific movie genres. And we're going to go, I guess, in the same order that we did for the news. And so I will go first. My first pick is the mockumentary style. Basically, anytime you introduce like the camera or like cast and crew or the crew into the show, thinking things like The Office, also things like Parks and Rec, which are not like true mockumentaries, but like that style of comedy I find very fun. Yeah, so that's my first one. Chris, what about you?
My first one is super specific, and that is Kung Fu green screen redubs. Like Kung Pao. Perfect.
Good movie. It's crazy to think that movie got made.
Right?
Like that movie has so much the vibe of like this is someone's YouTube passion project, but like it's like an actual movie that was released in theater.
Like, people that like that movie are my kind of people because they're the same people that obsess over watching bad lip reads. You know, it's kind of just in that vein. It's just ridiculous and don't know what they're gonna do with it, but yeah, it's classic.
Mm-hmm. Shanine, what about you?
Okay. My first one is going to be non space battles, space sci-fi.
So what would be an example?
For an example, Firefly or Star Trek.
There's space battles in Star Trek.
But the larger concept.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's not about the space battles.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not super pew pew all the time.
More like the political science fiction.
Yeah.
Focus more on the like politics of what would happen.
Politics or just like smaller scale space adventures.
Yeah.
Emma, what do you got?
So actually similar to you, Cameron, but even more specific is a fantasy mockumentaries. Because they're fun. Specifically, one that I grew up with was Fairy Tale, A True Story. It's about two little girls, two cousins, who discover and prove that fairies are real. And it's like a documentary style thing, and I love it. And it's just like this, the whole genre of mockumentaries where they go out and discover something that we all dream about and then discover that it's real. It's fantasy.
Before I do my next one, shout out to Avoided Ice. She said for me, asking if I mean docu-comedy. Yes, that's definitely more of like kind of that vibe too. And then my next one, very in line with Shanine's, is kind of the sci-fi movies that aren't about being sci-fi. So more when like you just kind of have sci-fi world building, but it's not even necessarily about like space travel or things like that. And so using Dune as an example of this, where like obviously like the sci-fi elements of that story are extremely prevalent, but it's not a story really about like jumping to light speed or exploring all of these planets. As much as I do also really like jumping to light speed and exploring all these planets. But yeah, so that idea, and Chris, you said the idea of like political sci-fi, those types of things, using that as like a platform of telling maybe even like more fantasy than science, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's my number 2. Character driven, not setting driven. Yes. Great way of saying it. Avoided Ice. Chris, what's your number 2?
I guess kind of like slapstick martial arts comedies. Rush Hour specifically.
Jackie Chan hype.
Jackie Chan, exactly. Although I do enjoy Jackie Chan's like serious stuff too, but yeah, Jackie Chan's the man. He's also really old now.
Mhm.
But he still got it when he does.
He'll always still have it.
He does focus more on his actual like on the Chinese market now, which is cool. But yeah, I can watch Rush Hour any day.
Chris, have you seen Kung Fury?
I want to say yes, but I probably need a refresher. Let me Google real quick. It sounds so familiar.
Because from your 2 genres so far, I feel like it's exactly the kind of thing you would love.
And there's a sequel coming out next year.
Yes.
It has David Hasselhoff in it.
It does.
There's a lot of white people in this, though.
It's not serious, Christopher.
I'm just saying. You put Kung in the title. That's not what I like to see.
It is
I
not
cannot
serious.
say I have seen this, but
Okay. It's not long and you have to watch it.
okay.
It's a 2015 English language Swedish martial arts comedy.
It's beautiful.
I will check it out. In a more timely fashion than Cameron watched Shazam.
Accurate.
I'm setting that bar really low.
It'll be done in the next year.
I was gonna say, I'll check back in 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's mostly like, in this case, it's finding it where to watch it.
And not on YouTube anymore.
Is it on YouTube? Is that somewhere?
It was
where I watch
originally
stuff?
released on YouTube, so
It is on YouTube. Okay. Whoa, that was loud. Okay.
okay.
Janine, what do you got?
My second one. Okay. Discovering a fantasy world that exists alongside the real world. So basically, like if Neil Gaiman were a genre.
Urban fantasy.
Yes.
I love it.
Have you played any of the, I assume that no, but have you played any of the Persona games? Okay. If you have 100 hours to spare, you should check them out.
I've currently sunk almost that much into Immortals Phoenix Rising, and I'm not even half done it. So I'll put that on the list.
Don't y'all have a PS5?
Yeah.
Right. So y'all actually have it then. Because it's part of the
Mhm.
PS Plus collection.
Sick.
So
Oh, and Avoided Ice says like Narnia maybe, and no, those are portal fantasies because you are discovering a world that exists elsewhere. I'm talking like in Neverwhere, where they discover a fantasy world in the sewers, or
There's another one super similar.
can't remember what the one is called. It's a Prime show with Orlando Bloom.
Oh,
It's what's it called?
and they're
I'm
like
Googling.
fairies, almost.
Yeah,
I watched some of that. I do not
Yeah.
remember any names.
So did I.
but yeah, that one.
Carnival Row.
Yep.
Yeah.
That one.
Okay, Emma. Your number 2.
Number 2 are this is the example I used a couple weeks ago, but archaeology adventure movies. Anyone who knew me as a kid knew that I went through a bit of an ancient Egyptian phase and just loved anything and everything involving that, as well as like Greek myth and all of that. So like anything involving adventure and archaeology, I'm so down for. Indiana Jones is the very specific, very well-known example. But to get even more specific, I love The Mummy, the original, not the remake.
Good clarification.
For clarification,
Yeah.
the original. Brendan Fraser. Because it's so funny. And not because that, like, I mean, yes, they also went an added comedy in there, but like it's just such an odd two things to combine, because archaeology is such a mundane job, technically speaking, that we're like, okay, but make it cursed. And then everyone regrets everything that they decided to do with their lives. And it's suddenly so much more exciting. Like, and then all of these people suddenly know all of these random things in ancient languages that, like, no one spoke maybe 10 minutes ago. So, yeah. It doesn't get enough love or enough credit. So,
If you make me check documents for maps on the back, I'm all in.
yeah, absolutely. I'm here for it. So Uncharted is another one, action and archaeology adventure. I love it. I get to be a modern day pirate in some ways. Morally a little questionable, but
Yes.
you
are like kind of the bad guy.
You are the better bad guy than the bad guy.
Yeah.
But,
Then we get into our final picks. My number 3 is when you get a coming of age story mixed with superpowers. So My Hero Academia, X-Men, Avatar, a lot of those style, typically I guess more shows, since they've never made a great movie based on my favorite television series, regretfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kind of style of, I like the symbolism. I mean, obviously X-Men very much plays into this idea of being the other, as you're having your coming of age story. And so I really like that style. And I think it's it adds to some very like fun illustrations for how things work, and also allows for, I think, cool world building as you have these people with these fantastical powers finding themselves. So that's my number 3.
My number 3, I have no idea. Medieval time travel movies. Sure. I can only think of like one coming to my head right now.
Which one's that?
The Black Knight. But I feel like there's others. Right?
There's gotta be.
There's gotta be.
Kid in King Arthur's Court. There we go.
Oh, that was terrible though. It's not a good.
Well, too bad it's your favorite now. You chose it as your top 3. You chose it.
It was just, it was entertaining. The Kid in King Arthur's Court was not entertaining. Black Knight at least was.
There's probably more.
Yeah, there's gotta be more.
There's gotta be. I don't know, but if not, Emma, that's gonna be that. You should make that your niche. No.
Yeah.
Medieval time travel movies. Just start a series. Fast and Furious, you get to 10, you can make 10 of something.
Gotta believe.
Heck yeah.
Just make it about family.
Yeah.
Family.
When things go downhill suddenly in the 4th movie, you have a child that wasn't mentioned in the previous 3 movies. That makes total sense.
Okay, Shanine, what's your number 3?
Okay, my number 3 is dark, spooky, and weird, but not Tim Burton.
What would be an example of dark, spooky, and weird, but not Tim Burton?
I don't know. That's the problem.
That's the this is the genre you're like wishing into existence.
Yeah. There's gotta be it.
There's gotta be.
But just like exactly how you would describe a Tim Burton movie, except not Tim Burton, because I am either very ambivalent or very against all of his movies.
So like, oh shoot, what's his name? It's a foreign name.
Like Pan's Labyrinth.
Um,
I haven't seen that one.
I
Good
recommend.
one.
Sounds like something
It's
I
a
would
very
like.
similar vibe to Tim Burton while being its own thing.
Yeah.
So if you have the chance to
I'll
watch
check it out.
I would recommend it.
It's still spooky season, so I
Mhm.
will add it
Yeah.
to my list.
It is. The end of spooky season has not been declared. Emma, bring us home. What do you got?
My third of like the 5 I wrote, because clearly this is something I think about, is space horror / space monster movies. Because A, I don't find them nearly as scary as normal horror movies, and B, I just love space monsters. So Alien, movies like that, Predator, I just think they're so cool. And I'm like, I want to know more. Who is this monster or whoever, or like what's causing the entire crew to go crazy? Like, if it's not a monster, what is it? Yeah, I just like space horror because it's like there's so much potential, and like everything and anything could happen, and it's like we're like, sure, I'll believe it. Like, I'm into it. I'm here for it. Sign me up. I like space horror, space monster movies. Geek, because it's fun and exciting.
Listeners, let us know your top 3 super specific movie genres and hit us up with examples. And that's how we'll go ahead and call it for the week. Go into our post-show chat. Listeners, if you want to let us know those movie genres or your thoughts on any of the stuff we discussed this week, you can let us know over on our social media or in our Discord servers. You can also send us an email at 1st@geek411@gmail.com. You can watch live twitch.tv/onegeek411 and find our videos over on our YouTube. You can also rate and subscribe wherever it is that you listen to podcasts, and check out our website, onegeek411.com. If you want to find us, you can also do that on our personal social medias. Mine is Hugh Marwittil.
Mine is I am not prepared with an I on all platforms.
I'm the Hoot and Howl on Twitter and Hoot and Howl Tales, TALES, on Instagram.
and I'm not so foreign.
And it's been a great week.
Wash your hands.
Read a book.